You are listening to the IU Report with Grant Shouse and Mike Hutsell every week on the Central Indiana Sports Report.
Grant Shouse with Mike Hutsell here in this week's edition of the IU Report. Mike, we are deep into the off season because we are not here to talk about, what the latest has been with Indiana basketball on the court or what Indiana football's done on the field or anything like that. We are here to talk about strictly off-season headlines, and that first headline we want to talk about is the new Thanksgiving weekend tournament Indiana will be participating in, not for another year and a half. So we have a year and a half to sit on this, and in 2027 they will be playing some of the blue bloods in one tournament of college basketball. Michigan's in that tournament. No, I'm not saying all of them are blue bloods. There's some that are in here. Michigan's in that tournament. Kansas, I believe Gonzaga's in that tournament. Arizona's in it as well. Who am I missing? Because there's like 8 teams, and I want to get them all right. I remember off the top of my head.
Wasn't Kentucky listed? UNC, I'm pretty sure, was on that list. Talked about this a great deal ad nauseum at some points. This has been missing from Indiana for several years. Going back to, they had that ill-fated trip to Atlantis Woodson's last year, which was just a debacle. And there were dark days, but the preseason schedule really just hasn't had these type of events in them. And these are fun things for the fans to get involved with. People less and less are traveling to these types of things, but to see Indiana get games against these type of teams, and there's always the obligatory Illinois or Purdue or Kentucky guy in the comments like, get Indiana out of this, what are they doing? 5 titles is 5 titles. I don't care when it happened. It's still considered Indiana's still in that neighborhood because of it. And Indiana, if they're ever going to get back, they've got to compete in these types of things, and they have to win in these types of things. So it's good to see it back on the schedule. Matt Painter's made a career out of these surfboard tournaments, so let's see if we can do something that the Naismith in November has done several times in his career.
By the way, the teams in the Diamond Cup: Arizona, Gonzaga, Indiana, Kansas, Kentucky, Michigan, North Carolina, and UConn.
What's funny is when they put the graphic out for that and they put like the logos of all the teams, they used a Purdue Mackey backdrop for it, like from the NCAA tournament. So random. You could have literally like picked any other background, but that was one of the things that stood out. But I did not see Purdue on there. By the way, on the day we're recording this, happy 90th birthday to Gene Cady. Hopefully he can get a little more oil in that hair and keep it greased up. So happy birthday, Coach Cady.
At least another decade.
Yep. Listening to Greg list those teams, I kind of like, this must be how it feels like to be like Lindenwood in the NCAA tournament, like knowing that you're going to get thrown into a game against UConn or Kentucky or it's like, oh great, we get to be
the fodder
guy. Yeah, we get to be the consolation bracket. Awesome. But we've saw what they've done with their NIL this year. If they can get back on track and build up a little bit more money and put together a stronger team, develop guys. Again, you have to play good teams, especially with the tournament expanding. The pressure in the non-con is going to be a little bit less. I feel like you can play more of these type of games. You want to be taken seriously and be mentioned in the conversation that Indiana fans like to say that they should be a part of. You got to play these games and hopefully win some of them when you play them. Woodson came in and wanted to play some of the better teams. He played Kansas, he played Arizona, he played Auburn. He added Kentucky back to the schedule. They played Louisville last year in DeVries' first year. You know what the problem is? All those games that I listed.
What?
Indiana hasn't won a single one of them.
Yeah.
So they got to get these games back on the schedule, and they got to get back to winning these types of games. So I'm I'm excited. It's exciting to see that Indiana, even with being out in the wilderness for the better part of 26 years now, it feels like, is still considered enough of a draw to get into a field like this. And we know that people are going to watch. We know that fans are probably going to travel. So let's make the best of it, and let's make a name for it, and let's make this something that we can rally this program around.
When it comes to football as well here, Mike, Indiana signed a couple high school guys here in the last few days. Branden Sharpe coming over from Brownsburg. He's a kid that I've seen play basketball at Brownsburg for my buddy Steve Lynch, who's the coach there, and he's a really good athlete. He's a Mr. Football. I think he's a Mr. Football caliber player, probably could be Mr. Football at some point in the state of Indiana. You'll probably see him be one of those where he'll play for Brownsburg here in the fall and then probably graduate early and join Indiana in the spring. And then a couple other guys that have gotten in there for Signetti and them. But again, this is one of those weird podcasts here where we're talking about stuff in the off season, and it's just kind of an update on what's been going on. And Indiana hit the portal hard, and it seems like in terms of football, they've hit the portal hard, and they're also hitting the high school recruiting hard as well.
And I think eventually, this is what any good team wants to do. They want to get guys into the program and develop them, because it's easier to allocate your money when you're bringing in younger guys and trying to build them up. But the portal it's expensive, and it's not going to get any cheaper. You talk about something that inflation's going to keep hitting every year. That's going to go up. Indiana, I trust Sig. I trust his level of talent evaluation. He seems to be living in this high 3, low 4 neighborhood when he's recruiting stars, which for Indiana, that's a pretty good neighborhood that they've never really been in before, to get these types of classes consistently. They did lose a 4-star DB. A lot of rumors that Ohio State's jumping in on him, but I'm very excited just to see the momentum continue. They had a huge portal group. People are talking about it being the best portal class of the year, if not one of the best. So, let's just keep going. Let's get back to it. Let's do this 3 straight years in the playoff. Keep this win streak over Purdue. Keep this Big Ten run. Let's go for back-to-back. Let's get a win streak over Ohio State for the first time in who knows when.
Hey, isn't it hilarious, Mike, that Purdue had
I know exactly where you're going with this.
Their football team had a higher GPA than combined points they've scored against Indiana in the last 2 years. Isn't that unreal?
It's one of those graphics where they put it out and they probably immediately regretted it. So sorry, Greg.
Some social media intern that's a freshman got a rude awakening from the social media department over there at some point this week.
So, Greg, what do you think about the talk? A lot of talk in the last couple of weeks. It seems like the Big Ten is pushing more and more, and I know you're always seemingly on the less is more camp when it comes to postseason, but the talk of going from 12 to 24, this seems to be like something that I'm not going to say it's inevitable, but I don't think this is a hill that the Big Ten is just going to just walk away from. They see money, they see dollar signs. So what do you think of the thought? What's your thoughts on a potential 24 team college football playoff that's largely being driven by the Big Ten?
Well, they've had a model for the last 50 years with Division II and Division III, and Division I AA. So it's pretty easy to do. I don't know why they haven't done it for the last 100 years. Yeah, Mike, I love it. No more than 24. That would be the most that you would possibly want to do. And I think you need to do 24 to give the best teams a bye that the other teams don't necessarily get. But 16 to 24, I'm in. It would take about 96 to get Purdue in, though.
For me, I think that I think you make a good point though, Greg. I hadn't considered that the other divisions do use that format, at least for the most part. But for the sake of college football, I've gotten used to it being at 12 the last 2 years. I like it at 12. I could probably stomach it at 16. 24 just seems like a lot to me. And
Mike wants to go back to the old days where number 1 played in the Orange Bowl, number 2 played in the Sugar Bowl.
That's false. That's false.
I was going to say, Mike Hutsell, I don't know how we're friends if you still think that.
But I do. Exaggeration. I am less of an advocate for expansion in football because it used to have the best regular season of any sport, the most important regular season of any sport.
Yeah.
And now realistically 24 teams, one of the teams that would have got in last year was 9-3 Iowa or 8-4, whatever they were. And Iowa's getting in.
I know.
Are there a lot of people out there that are
if you do dying? It, every conference champion has to be involved. That's one thing.
Oh, good. So, let's get 8-5 Duke in this bad boy. Yeah, boys.
Well, I'm talking about the American Athletic, the Conference USA, every conference MAC, every conference champion would have to have one. That's what they do in the other divisions.
Awesome. Can't wait to.
And that's why 24, not 16. You get rid of those teams in the first round.
I like 12. I don't. It's not my favorite. I kind of was more of an 8. 4 seemed a little thin for what they were doing, especially when they left Florida State out. I think that was the death knell for 4. But I like 12. I like the 4 teams getting the bye. I really thought they messed it up that first year, letting Boise get a bye when they clearly were not one of the 4 best teams, but the format was broken. And then this last year, Duke screwing things up. So you had Tulane and James Madison in, who, let's face it, probably shouldn't have been in. Notre Dame should have been there, but they weren't, and it's hilarious. And they're probably all just, pantless and watching the Jeremiah Love 98-yard run right now.
I was about to say that. The watch shot, man. Mike, but before you go on, I realized that I had only texted you only twice in the last 2 weeks, and they were both links to tweets making fun of the Jeremiah Love touchdown run. And they were like 2 weeks apart. And I was like, we've already, like we're beating a dead horse here, man.
But going back to the playoff, 12, if it's done right, I think is the right number. Going to 24, I'm not sitting here saying, conference championships are sacred and they need to stick around. We get rid of those things. Who cares? Indiana got one. They got into one. They won it. Great. I saw it in my lifetime. If the Big Ten never plays another one, oh well. My fear is, and I've heard people talk about this, load management. Georgia's 10-1 going into the last week of the year. It's not going to matter if Georgia's 11-1 or 10-2. They're going to make the playoff. So are they going to sit guys? Same thing with Indiana. Indiana is 11-0 going into the Purdue game. They're going to get in. Do they risk injury in the Purdue game? Do they sit guys? I mean, it's the Purdue game. You would like to sit here and say, no, absolutely not. It'll never happen. But realistically, these are paid athletes now. They got a brand to protect. They could very well say, coach, we're gonna sit out this one. We're gonna get ready for the playoff. And is that something that's realistically possible? Yeah, it's absolutely possible. And that's my fear with just adding more and more to this. And let's face it, this isn't something that we're doing so we can add the MAC champion or anything like that. This is more, we're going to get Iowa into this thing. We're going to figure out a way for Tennessee at 8-4 to get into this thing. And I don't want to sit here and watch NC State in a playoff when
Yeah.
Just because they went 9-3 and beat Boston College, Stanford, Cal, and all these teams and looked great doing it, but they lost to Pitt and Louisville and Miami. But you know what? They're 9-3, so we'll put them in that 23 seed and see how they do head to head in that matchup against Texas A&M.
So, Mike, one last thing before we go. We like to talk about some fun things on here. And it's been the tradition, it seems like, here on social media the last few years around college graduation time where schools reveal like who their mascot was. And Indiana revealed who their first ever Hoosier, the Bison, was. And I don't know her last name, but her first name was Abby. So congrats to Abby on being the first ever Hoosier, the Bison. And awesome. You know, I think it's cool how schools do that. You know, kind of show off.
It's a cool. A cool tradition, and I had my suspicions over the years that Hoosier was a girl.
Really?
The way Hoosier was able to dance with some of the Red Steppers and cheerleaders and stuff, I was like, I don't think there's a lot of like.
I guess I didn't really notice that. I guess I'll notice that more next year.
I mean, kudos to Abby for, you know, just jumping out of that airplane in week 1 last year and flying into Memorial Stadium to debut.
Now I will say this. I think there's 3 or 4 that rotate on who plays Hoosier the Bison. I don't think it was actually. I know for a fact Jeremy Gray put on Twitter last week that there is a rotation, 3 to 5 people that do it, but she was the lone senior and had done it a lot this year. So it's not like she's the only one, but there are people that do get their chance to do it. And it's one of those things you got to keep it secret. Like, and I've noticed that a lot of those are girls. Like I know,
I think that's been the big wake up call. Like,
yeah.
And it's so funny because inevitably, like, there's these freaking Nimrods who are just like, oh, I can't believe it was a woman. I'm disappointed. I'm like, how can you be pissed off about a college student putting their head into a stuffed buffalo? If that's ruining your life, get a freaking life, man.
You're pathetic, you know?
You're the same guy reacting to Kurt Signetti having twins on Facebook. It's like, dude, go down to the Gnawbone Cafe, get you a fried bologna sandwich, and go get pissed off with your friends. And head over to Mike's Dance Barn there on Highway 46 and go do the boot scoot boogie with your buddies and just get pissed off at the world about nothing. Because if your life was impacted or like if your blood pressure went up because you saw a girl was Hoosier the Bison, get a freaking mirror, man, and just stare into it and wonder what the F happened in my life, man.
I think those are the same people that were mad about the girl who somehow went to every single Division I college in America and wore an inappropriate inappropriate attire to graduation. Where like they were just hanging out the whole time, you know, like they were just on display.
She went to IU. She went to Auburn. She went to Georgia Tech. She went to
Iowa State. She
went to Iowa State. She went to Purdue. But as I sadly told you, she actually went to Florida State. I know that information.
I can't believe you admitted that on the pod. Like I would have kept that close to the chest.
You know what? You know, kudos to her. You know, it's a tremendous accomplishment in her life to get that degree. And, you know, if I remembered her name, I'd shout her out. But, you know, I just wanted to know that, you know, great work, you know, good work.
Congratulations.
Not everybody can graduate from every college in Division I, according to Facebook, but congratulations on your FSU degree.
Wait, so she went to Florida State. That reminds me of the time where during a Florida State game, they showed this real good-looking girl on TV, and Brett Musburger goes, and just like that, 10,000 red-blooded Americans just applied to Florida State University.
Brent Musburger was
dirty old man.
Oh, I love that, man. That was like your uncle calling a football game, man. An obscure fact. You mentioned those Florida State Cowgirls. 2 of the 3 became famous for very different reasons.
One of them I know became famous for Brett Favre harassing her when he was on the Jets, right?
Yes, one of them received in some unsolicited photographs from Brett Favre as a social media reporter for the Jets, and one of them was a WWE superstar.
Really?
Yes, she was Lana, the ravishing Russian who was married to Rusev, the Bulgarian brute.
I've never been a WWE guy, thank God.
You want me on your freaking trivia team on Thursday night, wherever you're playing.
Hey, Greg's mom and Michelle are over at the place in Alexandria right now doing it.
Right now.
Are they at the White Castle in Gas City right now playing trivia?
No one's gonna get that joke.
I don't care.
They just opened a Dairy Queen over there in Gas City not long ago.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, well,
Nice looking Dairy Queen.
Is it as handsome as Mrs. Signetti, Grant?
You know, I did see a picture of her and her husband this week. I was like, man, she looks really nice.
Coach Signetti, her husband.
I couldn't think of his name.
Mr.
Kurt.
Yeah, Kurt. Mr. Signetti.
The guy who jump-started your vehicle.
Mr. Signetti to you.
By his aura.
All right, you guys are
always a blessing.
The Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media, and I love Susie.